Hello YouTube! Alright, so this is another piece inspired by one of the YouTube Artist Collective themes. I was a little bit too busy to put something together when the theme first came out, but I really enjoyed seeing everyone else's pieces going through my subscription feed. So more recently, when I had the chance to do another quick piece, I decided to put this together. There's not really much of a story behind this piece. It's more something that started as an idea for a layout. I really wanted to divide the picture up visually into sort of thirds, which is why you can see me drawing a little grid in the background in a few parts of this video. So I basically planned to have the figure divide up the image by intersecting the background at sort of a diagonal and having some important parts of the figure and some of those dividing lines fall onto those intersecting grid of thirds lines in the picture's composition. It's pretty basic composition stuff, but I thought it would look kind of cool. And I decided to keep the background lineless so I could just focus on the figure at the front and just kind of play around a little bit with the painting in the background at the end. Yeah, so the line art to this came together pretty quickly because I really just needed to do the figure in the front. And honestly, the part I was most looking forward to when I heard about the theme and then when I started designing the composition for this piece was doing the coloring, because I knew I wanted to make it very fantastical. I didn't really want to stick to really realistic coloring at all, so I knew I could just use a bunch of cool icy shades and just kind of play around when I got started. So basically what I did here was I went through and blocked in every individual object with just a placeholder color in sort of approximately the right sorts of shades. And then after I'd chosen exactly what kinds of colors and color palette I wanted to use for my background, I went back in and tweaked the colors I'd put in place for the main figure so everything would look a little bit more consistent together. So drawing the background for this piece was probably where I had the most fun. I don't do a lot of this kind of digital painting style. I usually end up working with lines and doing something more cartoony or comic-like. And obviously the work I finished here isn't very well rendered compared to someone who works more completely with digital painting, but I had a lot of time trying to figure out how to do the trees in this style, and drawing like spacey galaxy backgrounds is something I find usually pretty easy and also usually a lot of fun, because it's basically just throwing colors up there and kind of seeing what sticks. For the figure itself, I do wish I'd pushed the colors a little bit further. I tried to incorporate things I was using in the background, but I really think I could have been more ambitious of throwing in like reds or purples or greens into the character's skin and hair, and just kind of played a little bit more with the color palette I was using. I think I played it a little bit safer than I had to, and that's still something I'm kind of working on and trying to experiment more on with little pieces like this. So hopefully next time I'll experiment a little further and come up with something I like even more. Yeah, so once I was finished with the figure in the foreground, I threw some snow in on a separate layer and then copied it over and deleted some of the extra pieces I didn't need, so I keep some more variety in the levels of density and kind of focus more on the foreground figure by having the most dense areas sort of leading towards their face. I used kind of my favorite trick for when I'm not 100% happy with my coloring, which was throwing a couple filters on at the end. Basically, I made some new layers and set them to overlay and covered just little pieces of the picture to add a little bit of extra color variation and shadow variation with that kind of little cheat at the end. Yeah, so that's about it for this piece. It was a pretty simple one. Thanks so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video.